Just 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, and we got more stuff to talk about, specifically the defensive tackle position. It feels like next to Quinnen Williams, it's been a revolving door. So I think it's about time to address that. And so on this show, we're going to break down some of the best defensive tackles in the 2025 NFL draft class. Plus, we're going to spin the wheel, the newly redesigned wheel, I want to point out. So we got a whole lot of stuff to get into tonight. Speaking of what night it is Wednesday. It's 6 p.m., and we are live. Welcome everybody back to New York Sports Wicker Media. I am your party host, Watu-K99, the host of this Wednesday night weekly extravaganza. Thank you all for joining me here tonight. Got to mention one or two things real quick before we get rolling tonight. We've been dealing with some technology issues over the last week. Basically, the computer that I've been working on, the display is dead. Okay, so I am actually currently using my work laptop. I put over what I could. The problem is I lost the wheels that I have. I can access them, but unfortunately I could not import them. So I made one quick wheel really quickly. But other than that, it is pretty much all systems go. The technology should check out. So I hope there's really no big difference in the quality of the broadcast here. All right. So, of course, hey, everybody who's here tonight, I see a few folks are already in the chat. Feel free to say hello and all that good stuff. All right. So we're going to get to the defensive tackle position. But before we get into the football tonight, let's talk about what's on my mind in a little bit of what we like to call 3 and out. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is the New York Knicks. So finally, the full roster is back together. The first time was this past Sunday night against the Phoenix Suns, where you had Jalen Brunson, Mitchell Robinson, and everybody else who's been dealing with injuries. Now, Jalen was rusty for sure in that game. The Knicks win. Tuesday night, they lose at the Garden in overtime to Boston. You know, there's been a lot of people complaining that the Knicks can't beat a good team. Well, they beat Indiana. They beat Denver. They beat Houston. They have beaten good teams. They haven't beaten the 3 best teams in the league is what it really comes down to. And unfortunately, 2 of those teams reside in their conference. And if the Knicks are going to do anything of substance during the playoffs, they got to go through both of those teams, it would appear. But the regular season ends this Sunday against Brooklyn, who is still in the league, it actually seems. Who knew? But then for the minutes police, remember, the Knicks have a week off between the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs because you got the play-in tournament going on in the meantime. And the Knicks have not been fully healthy all season long. They finally are, so I'm not overly worried about it. So even if they play their main players until the end of the season, I'm not too concerned about it. But it's going to be either Milwaukee or Detroit in the first round, and you can make arguments which would be the better matchup for the Knicks to have. Now, if Damian Lillard is able to come back from Milwaukee, which is a possibility, that changes everything. Because Milwaukee has the playoff experience, Detroit doesn't. But the Knicks have swept Milwaukee this season, whereas Detroit has given them a couple of problems this year. So, but hey, Milwaukee has the best player in Giannis. So it's going to be very interesting, but no doubt it's a series the Knicks need to finish off, I would say, quickly to get ready for what's coming up in the second round against Boston. Now, on to baseball. So both local teams in action this afternoon. The New York Yankees defeat the Detroit Tigers 4-3. They had to hold on to win it, though. The Tigers scored 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. Devin Williams, oh my goodness. Wow. He was terrible. He gave up 3 runs in this inning. Mark Leiter had to slam the door. You know what? The Yankees got off to a great start, beating down on a hapless Milwaukee team. But the offense is up and down. The pitching is very, very shaky. But hey, the Yankees are 7-5. They're in first place in the division. And now they host the very hot Giants this weekend. And then the Royals come to the Bronx as well. So no doubt you got to feel a little bit shaky if you're a Yankees fan, but that's okay. You just want to kind of find yourself as the year goes on. You just don't want to bury yourself right out of the chute. And then as far as the Mets go, the series ended against the Marlins today. It was a 5-0 loss. Mets won't see the Marlins again until the end of August. 4.5 months until they see the fish again. The offense did nothing in this game today. They made Max Meyer look like Pedro Martinez. But let's keep a few things in perspective. The Mets had a 5-1 homestand against Toronto and Miami. That's not too bad. They're currently tied for first in the East. And the one thing I would say to fellow Met fans, they got to stop asking for wholesale changes after a week. Okay, I see people wanting to send Mark Vientos down, take Brett Beatty and basically send him to Afghanistan, put him in the front of the firing squad. Can we let a month play out before we start changing the roster? Please. This team, they're still a good, tough, resilient team. Of course, not everything is clicking. Very rarely does offense, rotation, defense, and bullpen all click together at the same time. It is very rare. But the bullpen has been excellent. The starting rotation has been effective, even though they haven't given the most length. Defense has been okay. It's been kind of on and off. And outside of Pete Alonso, the offense has been very disappointing. I'd say Juan Soto's been fine, but really Soto and Alonso, outside of that, not so good, especially the bottom half of the lineup. So, but again, that could all change. That could all change very quickly. How a team plays through 10 games isn't how they play 162. Now, I do have to complain about one thing. One thing got on my nerves today. The Mets are honoring the St. John's basketball program today. Really? I know the school is in Queens. I know they had a great regular season, won the Big East tournament, but it's a team that won one game in the NCAA tournament as a 2 seed. They didn't win the title. They didn't make the Final Four. They didn't even make the Sweet 16. They win one game in the NCAA tournament, and they're throwing out first pitches. This is like in hockey. If you win the President's Trophy for the best regular season record, and then you crap out in the first round. I mean, come on. Do we really have to make a big deal out of that? I don't know. Maybe at the end of the season, going into the new year, it would have made more sense, but I'm sorry. Not when you only win one NCAA game, and the bottom line is this. They were a huge disappointment in the tournament. But all right, so that's I might be in the minority on that one, but that's okay. So here's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and get right into the Jets content right now. I see we are in MetLife Stadium. I see the chat's ready to go for it. So, guys, I want to hear it from you. Let's all say it together right now. All right, let's talk about our New York Football Jets as we are just 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. Thank goodness that is getting closer and closer by the day. A couple of things I want to mention. So the Jets, first of all, met with Jalen Reed this week, the safety from Penn State. We talked about him on this show before. 6 foot, even 212 pounds. He's a local product, so this does not count as a top 30 visit because it's local. But excellent in run support, very good tackler, very good downhill tackling safety. Knows how to read quarterbacks well, has very good play anticipation. Sometimes can be a little bit over-aggressive, so that's what he needs to kind of be careful about. But very smart on the field, great leadership, very admired by his coaches and his teammates. As of right now, he's expected to be maybe a 4th to 5th round pick, and I think that would be a very, very fine draft pick if they choose to go with Jalen Reed. And I want to very briefly address the rumor that's been going on this week about the Jets might want to consider trading Breece Hall and drafting Ashton Genty with the first pick that they have in the draft. Absolutely absurd. I'm sorry. I'm not drafting a running back in the first round unless it's the second coming of Barry Sanders. I have absolutely no interest. Probably the least important position on the field where the Jets actually have – that might be the position where they have the most depth too. And I know Breece Hall is coming up on a contract year, but do we really? What do you really expect to get for Breece Hall? With 1 year to go, he was a 2nd round pick. Maybe you're getting a 4th round pick, and I think that's probably pushing it. I'm not willing to create another potential hole just over the 7th when the Jets have so many other needs. This is not the Baltimore Ravens or the Philadelphia Eagles or a team like that has just a few things here and there that they could upgrade. The Jets need some major changes at certain positions, and they are in no spot to be making a luxury pick at a position that is, one, not important, and two, that they have a ton of depth on already. So let's nip that in the bud right now. I don't want to see that. Let's say hi to Tony Alexio. Let's hope this new regime of Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji and Rick Spielman as well. I want to throw him in. And Phil Savage will provide leadership and accountability to succeed. It's easy to say now, but let's see what happens when the season actually starts. Because once the losing begins, it's very hard to keep players engaged and to keep them accountable. All right, and we actually do have an update on the comp picks for 2026, so this is pretty good. We already knew that the Jets are getting a 4th-round pick because of Hassan Reddick. They also have 2 7th-round picks as well because of losing Ty Conklin and Solomon Thomas. Now, granted, a couple things. These picks are in 2026. Are you really getting excited about 2 picks at the end of the 7th round? I'm not really. I mean, what do you really expect from pick 250? But remember, starting Monday at 4 p.m. after the draft, whatever free agents you sign do not count towards the comp pick formula. And it looks like this is something the Jets really want to try to take advantage of, to which I say, okay, that's all well and good, but typically you're talking the back of the middle rounds and later. And I think a big thing is we've had so many years where our mid-round picks just crapped out. We don't expect to get very, very good players. Had a few. There have been a few who have developed over the last couple of years with Joe Douglas. You know, the Jamian Sherwoods, the Michael Carter, the seconds, guys like that, a couple of undrafted free agents that worked out well. Bryce Huff is the first one that comes to mind. But that was one thing the Jets never really did over the last several regimes was use the comp pick system. And I think that's something that they want to do. So I think it's a situation where that Monday, count on a few free agents getting signed. All right, so I'm gonna blow this back up a little bit. I want to make this a little bit larger. Now, I am not one who really goes through a lot of mock drafts because mock drafts are like buttholes and opinions. Everybody's got one and most of them stink, right? But I thought I would look at Chad Reeder's 5-round mock on NFL.com because I'm not really interested in a 1-round mock or even a 2-round mock. But if you're going 5 rounds, you got me a little bit more interested about what could happen in those middle rounds because the best teams find really good players in those middle rounds, or they at least know how to coach them and turn them into very relevant players. So what I wanted to do is go through that mock draft, see what Reeder has the Jets doing in his 5-round mock. Now, some of these I think most Jet fans would like. Some I think will make them want to pull their hair out. Okay, so let's get into the first pick. Now, I want to point out, note the Jets are not making any trades. He did include a couple of trades. The Jets were not involved in those. With the first pick, with the 1st-round pick, 7th overall, he has the Jets drafting a quarterback, Jackson Dart. So his reasoning is the competition between Justin Fields and Jackson Dart will help the team figure out if either player will become the long-term answer at quarterback. I mean, I don't mind drafting Jackson Dart, but I got no interest in doing that until at least the 2nd round, preferably the 3rd, but I don't think he's going to last that long. If you like Jackson Dart, take him in the 2nd. I would be really alarmed if the Jets chose to go after him in the 2nd round. I mean, the Jets need players who are going to play right now. If you are drafting Jackson Dart, I mean, are you drafting him just to sit him for a year or two? It's an interesting situation because obviously it's a new regime. So if you're going to make a move like that, this is the time you're going to do it. You're not going to do this when you're the New York Giants, where Joe Shane and Brian Daboll may only have 1 year to go. Okay, and they know they need to win. Muji and Glenn know they have a little bit of time here, but I just have I don't have a great feeling about Dart at the 7th pick. But that's what Reeder's got them doing. I don't necessarily see it coming. On to the 2nd round, and he's got them picking Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle from Texas. We're going to get into him much more later on tonight. I've seen a number of Jet fans, a number of content creators who are very intrigued by Alfred Collins. So that's where he has him going there. But for the 3rd pick, Third round pick, 73rd overall. We're going Jack Besh, which I think is going to make a lot of Jet fans happy. The wide receiver from LSU, MVP of the Senior Bowl, super tough, very good possession receiver, very athletic, makes good catches in traffic, excellent at that particular role. Pretty good blocker also, can work outside, can work inside. I'd be very, very happy if the Jets went ahead and drafted Jack Besh in the third round. The fourth round pick is another player that Jet fans have been very, very high on, and he would help to shore up that offensive line issue. Ozzie Trapillo from Boston College. Played left tackle, played right tackle, very good run blocker. You could plug him in right now. He's probably going to be ready to go. He's been very well coached, very well seasoned, very high floor, maybe even a potential Pro Bowler. I'm not going to say he's going to come right in and be the Brickashaw Ferguson, but good athleticism, good strength. There's a lot of good tools there to coach, and thank God Keith Carter is not there to coach him at this point. And then on to the final pick that he has the Jets taking at round 5, 145 overall, Luke Lachey, the tight end. And this is a player that I think a number of Jet fans have been looking at as more of a late round target. Good size, soft hands, good football IQ, not an elite athlete, but very well-rounded skills. If you're looking for a good chain mover in the passing game, Lachey can do that for you, and I definitely think that is going to be the case. And probably his best trait is that he gets a lot of yards after the catch. Could use a little bit of help there with blocking, but this is somebody you could develop into being a very good tight end. I'm not saying he'd be in a situation to be the starter right away, but there are definitely tools there to work with. So that's what Reuters got them doing. Jackson Dart, Alfred Collins, Jack Besh, Ozzie Trapillo, and Luke Lachey with their first 5 picks. So I'd say not bad overall. I can't get into the Jackson Dart thing. Not at number 7. So yeah, and if you miss on a quarterback in the first round, it pretty much drags your whole class down. So not what I want to see in the first round, but I do like a lot of these other picks. If you were to give me, say, Tyler Warren in the first round and Kyle McCord in the 5th round instead, I'd be quite a bit happier. I got to tell you. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get that out of there. There we go. All right, now we're going to get into some defensive tackles here. We're going to get into the main content of the show tonight. So a couple of things about that's offensive tackles. Let's try that again. Let's see here. Yep. Okay, we're good. There we go. All right. So it is So there we go. So it is the defensive tackle side. So we did get it right. This is probably the best position in this draft class, along with edge rusher, top 1 or top 2. Looking at the top 100 prospect list, there are 14 defensive tackles listed. That's the most of any position. The expectation is 4 or 5 defensive tackles will be taken in the first round. And on day 2, day 3, you'll see another 5 or 6 more probably coming off the board. It may not be the level of 2019 where you had Dexter Lawrence, Quinnen Williams, Jeffrey Simmons, Ed Oliver, Christian Wilkins, but the depth is going to be up there. So I'm going to give you 15, but first let's give you 5 honorable mentions I think deserve to be mentioned as well. Jordan Phillips from Maryland, 6'1", 312 pounds, very well proportioned, super explosive, very young, still very raw, definitely has not scratched the surface yet of his potential. One of the things with him is he is going to need some time to get coached to develop his skills and his awareness before he starts playing. It might have been a situation where he would have been better off staying in school, but stout, violent, explosive, very fluid in the lower body, very, very balanced. When he is given the green light to attack, he is going to be excellent. That is the main thing. He is right now very limited what he can do, but what he could do very, very well. So that is one. I could see Jordan Phillips going in about the 4th round. Most of these guys are going to be day 3 pick. These are all day 3 picks, by the way. Howard Cross III from Notre Dame, 6'1", 285 pounds, good motor, plays a very physical style of football, very good at using his leverage and his strength to disrupt plays in the trenches, very good hand technique, keeps that pad level low, which a lot of good defensive tackles don't necessarily do. And he's not a super flashy pass rusher, but he generates a lot of pressure with his effort, with his technique. And Cross, got some raw tools there, but good effort, good technique, not the most physically gifted prospect that you'll see. Simeon Barrow from Miami, there's a number of people who have him in their top 10 or top 15. I think he's pretty good. This is more of a run stopper, and of course, the Jets need a lot of help in that situation. He had a run defense grade of 81.9. That is 42nd in college football out of 620 qualifiers, but also very good as a pass rusher. 7 sacks, not too bad at all. So he's got some good blend, some experience, skills, some production. I wonder if he has the upper body strength, though, to make it in the NFL. So I think Barrow is intriguing, and I've got him just outside the top 15. J.J. Pegues from Ole Miss, 6'2", 309 pounds, great combination of size and athleticism. This is interesting. He transitioned from tight end to defensive tackle when he moved from Auburn to Ole Miss in 2022. So he didn't go from like offensive tackle to defensive tackle. He went tight end to defensive tackle. But he has a very good usage of his hands, very, very strong hands, a quick first step. He can penetrate offensive lines very, very well. He needs to improve his acceleration. He doesn't have the explosiveness that you would really want, and he can get a little bit over-aggressive, which leads to some misassignments now and then. And then Aeneas Peebles from Virginia Tech, 6 foot even, 282 pounds, a little bit undersized here. I think this is more of a fifth-round pick. He's most known for his pass rushing. He has good production over the last 2 years, and he's lined up all across the defensive line. He's lined up over tackles, guards, and centers. Has a very good natural technique, good feel of how to get around linemen. He's very reliant, though, on his swim move. He doesn't have a wide arsenal of tools to rush the passer. And when you're undersized with average power, that's not very, very good. Also, that pad level gets a little bit too high. When that happens, it's hard for you to take on double teams. And he's going to be 24 years old on draft night. This is not a very young player. So this would be more of a 3-technique defensive tackle. So in between the tackle and the guard. And so this is more of a finesse player. You can use him in a rotational role, but my expectations for him are not high. If I had to pick one player that I'd be excited about, it'd probably be Barrow. I think Barrow has the best all-around tools to work with here. All right, let's get into the top 15, and we're going to start with Jamari Caldwell from the University of Oregon. All right, now Caldwell is 6'2", 332 pounds. He pairs a great first step. It is really, really quick how fast he gets off the ball. Creates natural leverage. He has a good knack for disengaging from blocks, makes plays on running backs, and he has a very wide base, which helps him against double teams. So he's very good against wide zone, downhill runs, things like that. What you worry about with Caldwell is he's not as consistent as you would like. The defense, especially against the run, is a little bit raw. It's really that first step, that quickness right off the snap that allows him to make an impact in the run game. Now, he's got good quickness. He's got ideal size for a nose tackle, but he could be a good rotational nose tackle for maybe a 3-4 situation. I think he's more of a round 4 pick. I don't see him as a great fit for the Jets, but I could see him carving out a role. And by the way, guys, if you have any thoughts on these players, any questions about these players, please throw them down there in the chat. There's a whole lot more fun when I get to interact with y'all. All right, let's go to number 14 from deep in the heart of Texas. It's Vernon Broughton. And I've seen a number of places that have him around maybe 8 or 9 on the defensive tackle list overall. 6'4", 305 pounds. He's got the first step quickness to penetrate, has above average range as a tackler. He's a very instinctive rusher with a bunch of different weapons to rush the passer. He's got a rip move. He's got a spin move, a swim move. And with his length and footwork, he can cause havoc. All right. I can see him probably best as a 3 technique. Another thing that I like, he elevated his play in big spots. Against Arizona in the college football playoffs, he had an excellent game. The issues with him, he needs a little bit more upper body strength to against to shed those blockers. His anchor is okay, but it's very raw. So, and the fact that he charges as hard as he does, it causes him to lose balance at times. And again, if you don't have footwork, NFL tackles are going to be able to take advantage of that, or NFL guards, and send you right down on your keister, right down to the turf. Okay, so he has to be tamed a little bit by his coaching staff. He doesn't know his own strength just yet. But he's been getting a little bit more attention. It's just a year. Again, the class is so deep, he could get lost in the shuffle. But I've got a round 4 grade on Vernon Broughton. Number 13. Now, this is a sleep. I haven't seen this guy mentioned in too many places. I know Dom C likes him. And it's C.J. West from Indiana. And I think this is the first time I've mentioned a player from the University of Indiana ever when doing these scouting reports. But he is 6'1", 316 pounds. I chose this picture because he's basically kicking straight up in the air with a knee brace on. That's pretty good. But he's got great hand usage, super accurate with those initial punches. He sheds blocks well. He creates leverage on passing downs. He plugs gaps. He's very, very promising. I think he is very well suited to thrive in the middle of a defensive line. Very smart, too. He's quick to diagnose plays. The issues are he lacks the length and the explosiveness to really force the issue as an edge rusher. But if he could keep that pad level down, he could really contribute in a 4-3 defensive line. He's also a little bit short with his arm length, but he still has good overall size. You can see that mass right there in that lower torso. So I think he can have good reps in run defense, but I think he would be a little bit more of a pass rusher. But I think C.J. West is an intriguing prospect as well. I would think 4th round, but I could see him going late on day 3 if a team wants to take a shot at a project to develop. So C.J. West is my 13. Let's go to number 12, and it's Shamar Turner from Texas A&M. That's right. I'm going from the Longhorns to the Aggies. 6'3", 290 pounds, so a little bit on the light side. But he's got that quick first step that we like. Impressive strength. He will penetrate the gaps well, creates consistent pressure in the backfield. And with his hand usage and his lateral movement, that's why he's effective against both the run and the pass. Plays with a high motor. He sheds blocks well. He pursues plays with a lot of intensity and a lot of aggression. So with his size, his agility and athleticism are very notable. So you could put him even on the edge if you wanted to, if you didn't want to play him inside. He does, again, you notice I'm going to say this a lot, plays with a high pad level, which, again, will cost you in those leverage battles. And his consistency in the run game does need to get a little bit better. So he played at just about every spot on the defensive line at Texas A&M, which is known for having a very good defense, because you'll get great effort. You'll get active, violent hands, a very physically minded player, if that makes sense. But I think this is somebody who gets plucked on day 2. I see a 3rd round grade for Shamar Turner. So that's number 12. Let's go to number 11, and it's Joshua Farmer from Florida State. So he is 6'3", 305 pounds, had a great Senior Bowl. He's only been starting to get attention over the last few months, plays with excellent leverage, great hand technique, sheds blockers very well, very good first step, and he has a really good ability to generate a push. So he can be a force in both the pass rushing and run defense. Run defense is a little bit more raw, especially with recognizing plays. Recognizing run plays, recognizing counters and different things like that. He could get a little bit better there, but I still like that he is very versatile and he can play in multiple spots on the defensive line. If he can learn to improve his play recognition ability, he could be a starting caliber pass rusher. But he's got to improve that run defense a little more to get on the field consistently. Otherwise, he's just going to be a rotational player. But the fact that he gets pretty low and knows how to use the weapons that he has and use them effectively, that's good. He just has to, improve, get more weapons, basically. All right, on to the top 10. I've got Omar Norman Lott from the Tennessee Volunteers, 6'3", 315 pounds. So he transferred from Arizona State to Tennessee. And in 2023, he had 26 tackles, including 6 for a loss, 5.5 sacks. He's excellent at gap penetration. He has very active hands. He's very, very agile. That's what he uses to challenge offensive linemen. But the fact that he has a light frame, that can lead to him getting overpowered in run defense, especially against double teams. So that is a concern that we have to keep in mind. But his athleticism has multiple pass rushing moves. If you're looking for interior disruption in the passing game, ONL could be a very good piece for you. This is definitely a 3 technique, and if he can develop a little bit more strength on that frame, this could be a starter in the NFL. So I see Norman going around round 3 here. All right, so now with number 9, we're going to take a little bit of a jump up. Now I'm going to get to a prospect that is very, very, very polarizing, let's say. You know, a lot of people love him. A lot of people are nervous about him, but he is definitely one of the most controversial prospects there is out there. And from Kentucky, it's Deone Walker. This big boy, 6'7", 340 pounds. I think if he got to 350, he wouldn't be a person anymore. He would be a place. He is just a big, big man with the length, the size, and the power that makes him a nightmare to block one-on-one. If you're an opposing offensive lineman and you don't block him with proper technique, he'll just run right through you. But what's so cool about Walker is he's very athletic for his size. He's quick off the ball. He's very good at pursuing ball carriers. And for his size, very good lateral ability. The issue with Walker, though, and this is the biggest concern, can he do it consistently? Okay, his processing against the run still needs to be better, recognizing plays. There have been a lot of instances on tape and on film where smaller blockers were able to shut him down with good hand placement and weight distribution. He has to work on creating leverage with his size. If he could do that, he would really be difficult to block. Right now, he's basically using his athleticism and raw strength to beat people. It's not so much about his technique as a defensive tackle. He doesn't even really have a bull rush, which is very strange. You know, I think he needs to develop that bull rush to really be a good pass rusher. And his production fell off this year. 2023, he had 51 pressures. This year, only 22. Not good. Some people have said he dealt with some injuries, but he still played. So how much does that concern you? That's something to factor in as well. So his measurables, they will jump out to you immediately. They will get you excited. But the results on the field don't match the dominance that should be there, that you would see on paper when you look at the intangibles. You know, but with the height, the length, you know, it's there. But his technique has to improve to go along with those physical tools. I think he's going to go early on day 3, maybe even late round day 2. But I see early day 3. I could see him being one of the first picks. Third round. He would go early third round in my mind. So I do like Walker, but you want to have a good coach with him to develop those techniques. Number 8, we mentioned him earlier on tonight. It's Alfred Collins from Texas. A lot of these defensive tackles are down there in the Lone Star State. You know, 6'4", 320 pounds. So what are my thoughts on Alfred Collins? Well, quick swig of water for the working man and woman. So length and strength. That's what I'm calling him, length and strength. He is going to give you the versatility to play anywhere from 0 technique to 5 technique, which I like a lot. He is the quick-footed run stopper who could take over for Kinlaw and Fotu and go right next to Quinnen Williams. He might be the best compliment he's had since Sheldon Rankins. Super, super strong, stays in his gaps, very, very disciplined. This is a player you want to stand strong at the point of attack and take up space. All right. He has a very high floor as a very good run stopper. The issue is he does not possess the pass rush ability and stats of some of the other names that we're talking about on this list. A 7.3% win rate in passing downs is not great, but he's got the raw tools with his length, his athleticism, and a high motor. But I'll tell you what, he would come in and upgrade this run defense right away. And it seems like for several years, that has been a major problem for the Jets. Not great in counters, though. It's just a situation where he plays in the 2 gap, just goes right through, holds everybody up, and makes the stop. So, again, I don't know how high his ceiling is, but I think the floor is pretty good. So I see a late round 2, early round 3 grade on Alfred Collins. So if the Jets drafted him early in the second, I'd be like, okay, they must see something in their ability to coach him. And there's definitely some good tools there to work with. So I'd be okay with it at 42. I don't think he's going to make it all the way down to the Jets' 3rd round pick. I see very late to early day 3 for Alfred Collins. Now, Collins, again, more of a run stopper, needs to develop the pass rushing. The player I have at number 7 is essentially the opposite of that. And it's TJ Sanders from South Carolina. 6'3", 297 pounds. Now, he was an impact player for a Gamecock defense that was really, really good in 2024. Very disruptive, athletic 3 technique. He will win with his linear and lateral quickness to knock out the gaps and disrupt. He has a very good arsenal of moves to shed blocks. Now, he's not the biggest player, but he's I would say an adequate run defender, but he brings enough pressure as a pass rusher to get NFL teams excited. He has the lateral movement to chase down backs in the backfield. His issues are really 2 things with the run game. His pad level, again, still placed too high at times, and his hand placement, that's got to become more precise. I would also even throw in his play strength if he's going to be a full-time starter. I would say at the worst, he is a rotational 3 technique in passing downs. He'll win you some one-on-one reps. He'll disrupt the quarterback for you. But right now, he's a player you would want to use in passing downs, those 3rd and long situations. Kind of like what Bryce Huff was a couple of years ago when he first came over to the Jets. I still think, though, you're going to see him go round 2, maybe early round 3. All right, on to number 6, Darius Alexander from the Toledo Rockets. That's right. First time I've had a chance to say Toledo Rockets on this show. Quick reminder, guys, please hit that thumbs up just to help support the feed and help support the channel. It means a whole lot. Very much appreciated. So Alexander was recruited kind of lightly, and he is a bit of a late bloomer. He's actually going to be 25 years old in his first NFL season. But his strength, his measurables, definitely NFL caliber. He is very disruptive on offensive lines because he has a very quick first step, very powerful hands, and he can penetrate backfields very, very effectively. Mostly he was a defensive tackle at Toledo. He can take some reps on the edge if you want him to do that. And during the Senior Bowl, he was really good. Dominated one-on-one drills and team sessions. As a pass rusher, has a very good bull rush, but he still has the quickness to, sort of cross against the face of blockers. So he can go straight up, but he can counter as well, run a stunt. He can get a little bit high as well with the pad level, so that kind of neutralizes his ability to really push that pocket. But the run defense, not too bad, 90.3. So that's really because he uses his length to stack and control blockers. So that's probably the main thing that works for him, but he's going to have to do more than that to help stop the run in the NFL. So if he can improve his pad level, get a better anchor, and also place his hands more accurately. He's got very strong hands, but he's got to know where to put them. If he could do that, this is going to be, I think this could be a starter and a very good starter at that, even at 25 years old. I see him going in the 2nd round because the tools there are just too good. Let's go to the top 5. And my first player in the top 5, number 5, another player a lot of Jet fans want, it's Tyleik Williams from The Ohio State University. 6'3", 327 pounds. You've got a player here who is powerful, he's explosive, and he's versatile. He can play nose tackle for you. He can play 3 technique. He'll do it with a high motor. He's got the athleticism that are going to get NFL GMs super excited and coaches even more excited. Maybe the best pure run defender in this class, quite possibly, and he is a nightmare to block one-on-one. He played 51 games in his college career, totaled 136 tackles, 28 of those for a loss, 11 and a half sacks, 10 passes defended. And in 2024, 13 games, 46 tackles, 8 for a loss, and his run. Oh, and let's get into that run defense, why don't we? His run defense grade was 88.6. That's super good. He loves to take on opposing blockers. He will power right through them. And man, his run defense is just super exciting because he is so strong and plays with such a high motor. Now, what he needs to do, his block recognition against the run is not great. He has this habit of standing up out of his stance. He can be a little bit late to recognize blocks, down blocks, and double teams, and that leads to him getting pushed out of his gap. That's a little bit of a concern. So he has a little bit of room to improve as a pass rusher with his anchor. But with his raw physical tools, his instinct for violent play, and the fact that he can play in almost any defense you would want him to, see that versatility. Aaron Glenn likes that. Aaron Glenn is not married to one defensive system like Robert Saleh was. He will play whatever defense he needs to get the most out of his players. And I think that's one reason Quinnen Williams will be very intriguing to him. As a matter of fact, I've got him going in the top 40 in this draft. So early second round. Let's go to number 4 on the list, and it's Kenneth Grant from Michigan. You'll notice that there's a number of schools here that you're going to see twice here. It's very interesting. 6'3", 331 pounds. My nickname for this guy is Mr. Combustible. And I'm going to tell you why as we go through this. So he has a unique blend of size, speed, and power, one that very few, if any, teams can match. His lower body strength is enough to demand huge attention from offensive lines, snap to snap. Now, as a pass rusher, very much a work in progress. He'll show these hands that are very quick and very violent. He'll club, he'll use the swim move, but too often he doesn't have a plan and he just stalls out. He doesn't quite know how to harness his strength to bull rush and consistently collapse the pocket. All right, so that is what worries me, is his consistency level. When he plays well, he can be the best player on the field. Too many times he disappears. Now, his run defense is dominant. He will hold the point of attack despite playing with a high pad level. He has a very good ability to chase down screens, very good awareness. That is something that intrigues me. I would say probably his best game this year was against USC. Unfortunately, he couldn't do that during a season that was kind of up and down. So this is like you got a beautiful piece of furniture. You get it in the box, but some assembly is required. Okay, but I think the tools are very much worth the investment. Again, he could dominate single blocks and he can hold up against doubles. I just wish we would see that aggressive nature more often. I think he's got the ceiling to become a top 5 defensive tackle in the NFL. At the least, he can be a long-time dominant run defender. So I see him going round 1, maybe early round 2. I think late in round 1 is a fair place to draft Kenneth Grant. Number 3, I've got Derek Harmon from the University of Oregon. 6'5", 313 pounds. In 2024, 39 tackles, 11 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. And he led the nation in pressures with 55. Had a 17.6% pass rush win rate. He generates pressures like nobody's business. A very quick, very disruptive defensive tackle, great football instincts. He has these quick hands to knock away the punch of an opposing offensive lineman. He's got a club move. He's got a rip move that will help him connect early wins. I'd like to see more of his bull rush because it is effective. He just doesn't use it all that much. It's almost like that third pitch that a pitcher has where it's good. He just doesn't use it enough because the other moves, he's used them more and he trusts them more. Now against the run, okay. It's okay. It's adequate. It's not great. But he's very aware. He can avoid getting pushed around by down blocks. He can anchor down versus double teams. And he can shoot the gap to disrupt the running back or redirect the running back. And then one of his teammates finishes off the play. So Harmon, he's just got a great feel for the game. He can create a ton of havoc. And the other thing, though, he's only got 1 year of really notable production. But this year was really, really good. I see an effective 3 technique, maybe a 4 or 5 technique as well. I see him going round 1. I don't think the Jets would take him, but I think Harmon is going to be a very, very good player. Let's go to number 2. Man, we're getting to the cream of the crop. Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, 6'3", 300 pounds, 6.5 sacks, 14 tackles for a loss, a run grade of 91.6. Woo! Pretty much him and Quinnen Williams if you're looking for a run stopper. A very athletic 3 technique defensive tackle. He had a big leap in production in 2024. Only 21 years old, super young, still has a lot more room that he could develop. Very twitchy. He is the type of player you want in a penetrating style of defense. Okay, he could win for you against the run and against the pass. Very fluid hips. So he could jolt blockers. He could beat double teams with those powerful hands. What he needs to improve is his vision and his awareness. He wins a lot of battles, but he doesn't always win the war because he doesn't always locate the ball very well. Now, against the run, I want to get into this a little more. He shoots the gaps very well, but he can get caught a little bit too often. So he's not the most polished interior defender, but he might be the most physically gifted. So if he could grow in his pre-snap diagnosis, his play diagnosis, and his usage of his hands, he could be he could be all pro in my mind. I think he's just scratching the surface of his potential greatness. He's very talented. He's very disruptive. He lands in the right scheme with the right coach. I think he could be on the all-rookie team. I think that's very, very fair. I think he's going top 20 or so, top 25. And I think his ceiling, super, super high. Super high. And then finally, I think my number one is everybody's number one, pretty much. It's Mason Graham, also from the University of Michigan. Man, Grant and Graham in that defensive line. Wow. 6'3", 320 pounds. This past year, 45 tackles, 7 for a loss, 5 sacks, all while facing constant double teams. He was PFF's number 1 rated defensive tackle in college football this year, plays with high leverage strength and power, controls the point of contact, recognizes blocks like this, like freaking Will Hunting in the movie, like breaking down an algebra problem. Posted run defense grades of 78 or better in all 3 of his college years, and he got better every year. This year, finished with a 92.4 run defense grade. That is first. Not only this, he doesn't take penalties. 1 penalty in 548 snaps. But not only that, he shows a ton of upside against the pass. 76 pressures and 12 sacks in 3 years. 2024, he ranked 9th among defensive tackles with 34 total pressures, career high. You look at everything, the explosion, the fluid hips, the closing speed, the violent nature, the upper body strength. All of it is the hands, the awareness, the football instincts, the motor. He has all of it. He's got that wrestling background, which is great. With hand usage, with awareness, with footwork. I like that amateur wrestling background. If I had to find one thing to knock, and believe me, you have to look pretty deep. The arms are a little bit shorter than you would want. Not the best against counter rushes. It's fine. I don't care. He's fast. He's violent. He's relentless. He can stop the run. He can rush the passer. I think he's ideal as a 3 technique in a 4-3 front. And realistically, with a team that would take Mason Graham, I think it would be Jacksonville at number 5. That's probably my biggest concern. I think if the Jets get a chance to draft him, even though the Jets need a lot of offense, Mason Graham would be amazing. He would be amazing. This is a top 10 player. No question about it. All right, guys. So those are my rankings on the defensive tackle position. Next week, we got 2 more weeks to go. So I think next week we might talk about maybe some mid-round quarterbacks, maybe some cornerback prospect. I think next week we're going to get into some positions that the Jets might not take at the top of maybe some positions they would take somewhere in the middle. So linebacker, cornerback, quarterback, something like that is what I think we're going to do. Tony Alexio, I hope Mason Graham will be available at 7. I don't know if he will be. I sincerely hope he will be. I can tell you this. I hope he doesn't go to New England. Ooh, that would not make me happy. Seriously, please let Ashton Jeanty go in the first 6 picks. That is my prayer. Let Ashton Jeanty and 2 quarterbacks go in the first 6 picks. The rest of it, it's like I could deal with it from there. From there, it's like Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, and then whoever else, then fine. I just hope the Jets have a choice of Membu, Warren, and Graham. If 2 of the 3 are remaining when the Jets pick at 7, you know what? I'll be a happy Watsu K99. So that's pretty much what we're looking at right now for defensive tackles. So guys, I'll tell you what we're going to do. It is about 10 minutes to 7. Oh, that's right. We get the disgusting Rangers play later, but the one thing, Sam Rosen and John Davidson are doing the call. So for old time's sake, it'll be fun to hear the 2 of them again because they are the voice of my hockey youth for sure. All right, guys. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the wheel. Now, I will warn you, those of you who have been here before, which I'm thinking is most of us, this is a brand new wheel because I'm working on a different computer. My other computer is dealing with display issues, which I mentioned. Want to mention this. I mentioned at the top of the show, but the display on my regular laptop is not working. It looks like I will be getting a new computer at some point. So right now I'm just doing the best I can with my work computer. So, hey, we adapt, we do the best we can, and we bring you the show. That's what we do. Hey, Harlan, how you doing? Father Abraham is here. Glad you're here, man. Hope you're having a good week. Okay, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and pull up the new wheel. Hopefully it's the new and improved wheel. There we go. So this is the Jets' first round wheel as I close the Disney ad over here. There we go. I don't believe that I can make this this wheel any bigger than it is. So hope everybody will be okay with it. But we do have one or two new features here. Hope you like the fact that I was able to put the this New York Jets logo right there in the middle of the wheel there. I thought that was pretty cool. So everybody, just as a reminder with what we are doing here. On this wheel are the names of every player that has been mocked to the Jets. All right? We also have trade up, we have trade down. And remember, the wheel never lies. And we are tracking who we land on. And by the end of this exercise, we will know who the Jets' first-round pick will be. Now, so far, here's who we've landed on. Kelvin Banks, Mason Graham, Shadur Sanders again, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. So most of the players that we've been landing on are projected to be gone by the time the Jets pick. So you guys know what the deal is. It is, yeah, Harlan, thanks. I'm glad you like. I didn't have the ability to do that with the other system, but now I do. The one thing I can't do, I can't change the size of the font. That is the one thing that's a bit of an issue here. But other than that, I kind of like what I have here. And the cool thing was, once I uploaded the picture, I was able to change the wheel to reflect the colors in that center image. So that's a pretty neat feature too. So, and the other thing that's good, I could actually save this with my Google account, so I could take the wheels with me everywhere I go. Unfortunately, though, it looks like I've got to remake the wheel. That's right, I got to remake the 100 Jets wheel, but it can be done. It would just take me a little bit of time, but by the time we're done with the draft, I will have those wheels remade and hopefully working a little bit better. All right, guys, so we are here. Welcome, everybody, to Green Bay, Wisconsin, site of the 2025 NFL Draft. And we've just gotten the notification that the pick is in. And here comes Commissioner Goodell to the podium. And listen to everybody welcoming him. All right, we get the point. With the this is because that's how we say it. With the 7th pick in the first round of the NFL Draft, the New York Jets select and it looks like we're going back to Travis Hunter for the second time we have landed on the Hunter. So we have a tie between Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders. At 2. So it looks like as of now, we're going to spin the wheel 2 more times. Can somebody overtake either Sanders or Hunter? So, yeah, we got the little click spin going on there in the background too. So, yeah, we do have that going on. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, let's pull that back up. Okay, Membu, a foundation piece. Yep, Tony, I'm with you. Yeah, Membu, if he's available, I'm going straight to the podium. I'm going straight there. Are they having the draft at a hotel or historic Lambeau Field? Harlan, that's a good question because with a lot of these cities, there's room. New York City, Nashville, Los Angeles, you got all room. You don't really have that in Green Bay. All you've really got is houses. It's gonna be very interesting how they break all of this. Down, but let's see if we get a little bit of info on this. But you can't do it like right outside people's houses. I mean, there's got to be certain roads that are going to be closed. So there's still, so I'm looking up now, some details are still being finalized. The main portion will happen on Lambeau Field and Titletown campus, with a variety of venues to be utilized within close proximity to the stadium campus. So I know they have an arena, like the University of Wisconsin Green Bay Arena. I know that WWE has been there before, so I would expect that arena to get used for sure. But with the weather, who knows how that's going to work out. But it's going to be like a multiple site draft is what they're going to have to do. So, but yeah, I don't think they would do it in a hotel. You need like open spaces, but it has to be like a confined space. You can't just put it out in the street right in front of somebody's house. That'd be pretty cool though. Okay, guys, so I'll tell you what, we are going to go ahead and get to that part of the night. It is a weekly tradition. And in fact, I don't think I could do a show without doing this. Every week, you know what happens. Every week, I head into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I pull up the websites. I dust off the Encyclopedia Britannica. And I, Watch2K99, challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in the National Football League. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you are ready, let's play Jets Trivia. All right, everybody, and you all know how the rules work. I am going to put 5 minutes on the clock. I'll be counting down the time. I'm going to ask everybody a trivia question. Throw your answers right down in there in the comments section. And let's see if we get this one right. Yeah, last week, Kendall Sheffield was the answer that the chat could not get. I got a similar question tonight. I don't think it's going to be quite as challenging, though, but we will find out. So it is a draft-themed question. So tonight's question goes like this. Name the two 2024 Jets who played college football at Virginia Tech. On the west side of the great Commonwealth of Virginia near the coal mines. Two players on last year's Jets team play college ball at Virginia Tech. Do you know who they are? So let's see what the chat has for us tonight. All right. No matter, quick thumbs up is always very much appreciated. Appreciate all the subscribers, all our regulars, very much appreciated. And first timers, if you're here too, welcome aboard. Definitely appreciate you. All right. So two Jets from last year's roster play college football for the Hokies. Who are they? So we had two Hokies here. Tony's already out. Wow. Watch2K stomps this again. Harlan says J.R. Reed. Harlan's going basketball here. Okay. Chat, you know the two players. These are not – this is not Kene Nwangwu, Kendall Sheffield, or Tanzel Smart. We're not talking about obscure players. These are players you would know. I promise you guys know these players. Of course, no looking it up. But if you do, hey, what am I going to do about it? Not a thing. Yeah, stumps. Yeah, I always try to make the questions, some weeks are easier, some weeks are harder, but I do try to make them fair. I will always try to make them as fair as I can for you. All right, I've got about 2 minutes left on the time, guys. So you'll get any answers soon. I have to call this one. I see there's a few folks in the chat who are kind of hanging in the background. If you'd like to throw a guess out, you're more than welcome to. All right. Not seeing any guesses. Man, I know the question was going to be this tough. Tony Alexio goes with Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen was a Wisconsin Badger. Yeah. One's offense, one's defense. 30 seconds here, guys. One's still on the team. One is no longer on the team. Put it that way. And Virginia Tech. All right, I'm gonna call this one. So, chat, we did not get any correct answers. The two correct answers tonight, the two 2024 who play college football at Virginia Tech are Tyrod Taylor and Chuck Clark. Both play college ball for the Hokies. Hey, Sharon McClain, there you go. All right, you got Tyrod there. Sharon McClain to the rescue. So, very good. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Hope you're having a good week. But yeah, Tyrod Taylor and Chuck Clark. So those are the correct answers for tonight's trivia. Everybody will be happy when I get back to doing like the trivia about the history between the Jets and whatever opponent they're playing that week. Yeah, I guess the draft questions can be a little bit challenging. So, all right, everybody. I'm going to say thanks, everybody, for hanging with me tonight for Wednesday Night Live. You know I'll be back next week. Hope the broadcast went okay, considering, again, using a different computer right now, hoping to get that issue resolved. But everybody, have a great rest of your week. We're only 2 weeks away from the draft. Can't wait to have a little bit of new hope and a little bit of new excitement with the Jets roster. So everybody, be well. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I will see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night, everybody.